Hi, hello. So, let's watch another video together. This time a little bit different because we're gonna watch a video that has been already analyzed by Ari in the air, but he missed some points, and I also wanted to focus on another aspect of the situation, on the aspect of flying an ENC two-liner without SIV training and all the risks that are involved there. Because I just had a discussion with other pilot on this subject, and I told him you have to watch this video from Ari out there to understand. And I will just tell you what I told him, everything. So let's watch the video first, and then we will analyze it in detail, and then we will discuss those aspects. Okay. So
Flying along, and big collapse. Oh, he's still on the rear risers, both hands. And he pulls the brake, and now it looks like he's got a line over, some kind of nasty cravat here. And a little pumping. It starts an auto rotation. Oh, he's pumping. It's not working. He's losing heading control. He regains heading control. He's pumping, not doing much, kind of barely pumping. Now he grabs the rear riser. He gets heading control again. A little bit of pump with the brake again. It's starting to turn the glider. It's not working, so he grabs the rear riser again. Back onto the rear riser, grabs it, stalls it. Perfect heli. Oh God, heli. And now he's 720. Cravat's still in there. Glider's still stalled. Lets it shoot. Now it's flying forward. Now it's auto-rotating, 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 auto-rotating. Reserve is out. And reserve is open. And he's going to pull in the glider. Holy shit. Paragliding is crazy, and it's so dangerous, and it can totally kill you, and it's the most incredible sport ever. So, let's...
I love Ari dear, and so I invite you to watch the video in full. I will put the link in the description. He makes great videos, and he also analyzes a lot of incidents lately, so it's very useful. But now let's have a look on actually what's going on here in the detail and how this actually happens.
Through here, and we'll break it down. Okay, he's flying along.
So now, so this guy is flying, and he's flying, as you see here actually. Well, I don't really see it yet, but there's a roll on the roll here, so he's fully accelerated here. You see this zone here. So this is fully accelerated flight on an ENC2 liner, which is basically like a high C, very efficient wing, very fast wing too. So a lot of energy, and this energy is not gonna be dissipated for no reason. So it's gonna stay with you for a moment. This is the first thing the ENC2 liners are. Quick, fast, energetic. And as you know, the kinetic energy is the square of the speed. So if you go twice as fast, you get 4 times the energy. Yeah. So now, let's see what's happening here. Exactly. So actually there's no real point, like, not no movement to the front or something. So it's just, he probably enters like a air going down, sinking in, and he goes, this collapse starts in the middle. So you see here, and then it drags the left side with it. There's a lot of drag. Here you see the wing is actually like perpendicular to the flight direction. This is the reason why the wing stays behind. It's braking strongly. He's shooting forward. You don't really see it on the video, but actually this is how it is. You fall on the back. And he's on his B risers here. Maybe this is the reason why he keeps the hands up. Now you see that actually the speed is released to some extent, at least. Maybe not fully yet, but at least on this open side, to some extent, the speed is released, which is a very good initial reaction. Yeah, it's not 100% released, but yeah, it's maybe like 20% speed. Now you see the wing actually going through the lines. So since you fly so fast, full speed, there's a lot of relative wind pushing. If in case like this, there's a lot of relative wind pushing your wing through the lines, and since it's a two-liner, there is a lot of space between the lines, so you have a nice chance, huge chance of getting pretty nasty cravats, like where the wing really goes through the lines in all the possible configurations. There are such a crazy cravats I've seen that, yeah, that are very difficult then to clear. So let's watch again. So now, for some reason, no, it's okay, it's still out of the speed. Now the wing is shooting forward. You can see it against the clouds. And actually the wing is not turning into the close probably because these cravats are so huge. If you have like a smaller cravat on more on the far away from the center, just the smaller cravat, then coming from full speed and shooting forward, if you don't brake, and he's not visibly braking here, the open side. So if you don't do this, it will be dragging in the spiral with no time. This is also a bit like related to SIV experience, but in this case, probably because this cloud is so huge, this doesn't happen. So you see the wing is coming out, accelerating pretty cleanly. There is no visible turning. Uh, Now the speed on this open side is released fully. You can see it here. This is a very important reaction to release the speed, and that's obvious in case shit happens like this. This side, funny way, the close side, the speed is just here roll to roll, but this is because there is no pressure, so maybe even here released, there's nothing to pull back the speed line, so it looks like it's fully accelerated, but doesn't matter because all this part is closed. So this is what we have here, and now, and now actually he starts to turn to the other side, to the open side a little bit, for some reason. So I don't actually see it breaking so much, but the trick is he's having his hands on the beast. That's why actually you don't see it on the trailing edge. Right? So actually he's breaking on the beast, and maybe
He's
with
still on the
his
rear
rear weight
risers,
shift,
both
he's swinging
hands,
a little bit
and he
to the right,
pulls the brake. And now it looks like
to the open side, which is a little bit too much, but it
he's got a
doesn't
line
matter.
over, some kind of nasty cravat here.
Yeah, that's what he said. You see, this is a nasty cravat. It really went through the lines. It's a big one.
And a little
And now
pumping.
he's
It starts
braking a little bit. But the trick is, if you have a cravat for half of the wing, braking this side makes no sense because there's nothing to brake. Actually, the only way to deal with this is you cannot even do like spin entry. The only way to deal with this is basically like full stall. Um, so now you already know why you need SIV, and this is pretty advanced because full stall is pretty advanced maneuver in the SIV. So this is the reason why you know that you need a lot of SIV actually to fly two-liners safely. Because the chance of having this is much bigger than on the other wings, and only full stall actually can clear this type of cravat.
auto rotation. Now
Such a
he's
big.
pumping. It's not working. He's losing heading
Now, actually, what happens is that he starts to turn to the right for some reason.
control. He regains heading
Now maybe weight shift plus braking this part, so he's actually turning the other direction.
control. He's
No,
pumping, not
he's
doing
turning to
much.
the open side. Now he's still trying kind of like pump. Actually, now it got a little bit bigger. The cravat. I haven't seen exactly what was the moment where it got. So now it was smaller. Okay, so let's have
Line
a look at
over,
this
some kind
open
of
wings.
nasty cravat
What he's
here.
doing.
And a little pumping.
Okay, so there was like a pumping and still it helped a little bit. Funny, huh? That's good to know that because I wouldn't say such a big one that's directly for full stall, but here with the pumping, you can still moving
It
the
starts
lines,
an
you can
auto
still open a little
rotation.
bit.
Oh, he's
Now he's like, yeah, he's moving those
pumping.
lines
It's not working. He's losing
and
heading
it's opening a
control.
little
He
bit.
regains heading control.
It's good to know
He's
actually that we're going to get it
pumping,
open
not
some
doing
point.
much, kind of
But the
barely
big problem is that now the wing, as you see it here, it's really pinched in the lines. So this is probably so much as you can do with the brake.
pumping. Now he grabs the
The funny way is he's turning to the open side, so which means he's actually a little bit
rear
overcompensating.
riser. He gets heading control again. A little bit of pump with the brake again. It's starting to turn the glider. It's not working, so he grabs the rear riser again. Back onto the rear riser, grabs it,
Okay,
it
now
stalls it
this is the moment. Let's have a look. This is the
again.
moment where
Back
he's and this is what Ari says. It's like this, and also I discussed with a colleague now. This brakes versus risers. So the the state of the art of the SIV that I know and the last training supervised that I did was some 5 years ago already. I imagine. Maybe no, maybe it was 3 years ago, 2 years ago. The last supervised training was a train non-supervised also, but and at that time all the maneuvers that we were doing they were all with brakes, so there were no SIV maneuvers with Bs. I've seen some videos of SIVs where they were training like full stalls on with B risers on two liners, but I don't know. I'm not an SIV instructor, so I'm not gonna tell you if you should use Bs or brakes. But the way I learned it, it was always with brakes. To deal with how I learned to deal with any next abnormal situations. And now the trick is that as he said, as Ari said, he's changing between brakes and Bs, but
onto the
here
rear riser.
he's on the B risers and now he's pulling really hard on this close side. And by pulling really hard, actually he's stalling. Now you see the swing is already here, it's the form deflated and moved to the back. So actually he has stalled this close side with B risers. This is a little bit outside of my experience because I never stalled a wing with B risers, so actually I don't know how it compares with the brakes. But what happens is he's entering negative rotation through this, so a spin basically. So this is what happens here.
Grabs it, stalls
Here,
it.
see there's this moment where you start to turn. One side moves open, and you're turning in a place. It's something that is also advanced maneuver in SIV, but a spin entry is less advanced, so that you can just learn to detect the moment when it starts to spin, and then release your hand automatically. So it's something that you learn pretty quickly, like in the first few days of SIV. The spin developed like this is already another story because this is a maneuver where you can get disorientated, where you can actually, when you risk, if you release in the wrong moment, you risk maybe not falling into the wing, but getting cascade by not catching the wing. Anyway, so this is a complex situation right now. Spin and spin with the B riser. I don't even know. I've never done this, but in principle it's similar. And now what
Perfect
happens is that so
heli.
he's
Oh
spinning.
God, heli. And now he's 720. Cravat's still in
Now,
there.
yeah, he was also doing some braking on the other side and released this side. This is how he left the
Glider's still
rotation.
stalled. Lets it shoot.
But
Now it's flying
now,
forward. Now it's
in
auto
fact,
rotating, auto rotating,
but
auto rotating.
now it's auto rotating. Now this is what he says. So now the wing is open. He's flying forward. He has much smaller cravat. So actually, what has happened through all of this loss control here, when he went out of this spin, when he was turning in place, so to say, you know, you're under the wing and the wing is turning above you. Um, when he left this, the wing got some speed, and with this cravat and without proper braking action on the other side, like getting the speed, it got into first like a spiral where it went down, and then due to this huge air resistance, that's air drag that is created here, you get in this SIT configuration where the swing, where this inner part, so to say, is above the horizon. You don't clearly see it here. It's basically in this perspective. It's hard to
auto
say,
rotating,
but you can actually
auto rotating.
not. You could have seen this. That's a bit above the horizon. And what happens is now the axis of rotation is between the pilot and the wing. So this is the shittiest situation for deploying the reserve. And this is the reason why you should not wait with deploying the reserve if you lose the control. Because if you wait, actually this shit happens, and now you will see that,
Auto rotate.
and the chance that when you deploy the reserve, you throw the reserve, that it's gonna be, you throw it, and since the rotation is between you and the wing, where you are, the wing will be in half of a turn. So you throw the reserve, and the wing is coming in half of a turn and is eating this reserve. This is a typical
Reserve is
scenario, and this is what almost happened here.
auto rotating, auto rotating, auto rotating, auto rotating. Reserve is out.
Ah, here. So you can actually see it here. You see it? So the wing, the reserve is here, the wing is coming. We don't see it. It misses it, but it's not missing it by a lot. You've seen it. It was pretty close. And there are many cases like this. This is why people do SIV, for example, with two rescue parachutes. This is why some people, myself included, if I'm not in a ultralight configuration, I also prefer to fly with two parachutes just for the case. Okay, so weeks in following points here. So this was guy who apparently didn't have like a basic SIV training because he was pretty confused pretty quickly, and he was flying an ENC, which is fast wing, ENC to liner, which is fast wing, dynamic wing, and a lot of energy, and very few lines, so a lot of space between. He got a fully accelerated uh, asymmetric collapse, where actually due to the high speed, the tip of the wing was really put between the lines, and his initial reaction was really nice because he went out of the speed. Uh, he was actually due to the because the cravat was so big and actually it didn't turn him into the spiral. What has happened later when he was leaving the spin? So this didn't happen, and that was good. So he was keeping the direction. But with such a big cravat, I mean, I was still surprised a little bit that he was able to pull it out just by pulling the lines. But he was managing to pull it out until it really stopped on these lines where the wing was pinched. And then actually shit happens because he was over. I mean, the only way to do it was actually by stall, so by what he or spin what he did. But the trick was that he was doing this with B risers, and as far as I'm current with the current state of the art of SIV instruction, this is not the way you do it. You do it with the brake, and actually this is where he lost control. Huh? And then he left the spin and he entered the auto rotation. Um, the fact that he entered the auto rotation so quickly and he was really breaking out of this, it already indicates that he was not a SIV skilled pilot, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is basically what I see here. And now, um, so what would be the way out? So the way out would be what he just did, the spin, but now with brakes and then left in a controlled manner. And in a controlled manner, actually, well, if I would be so high like him here, then I would probably split the wing. And after some time, the wing has the tendency actually to enter the backfly from the spin. It's pretty hard to keep it in a spin like this. You really have to put attention to keep your hand up. So the wing would probably enter the backfly, so like full stall, and this would maybe clear the cravat, although since it went through all of those lines, yeah, it's not so sure. Um, and then, yeah, tempting landing with such a thing. If it wouldn't go out, I'm not sure. I would have to have a look on how it really flies. But you're close to stall speed, so it's dangerous. Otherwise, fly over a nice place because you can still control direction and then show the rescue from a stable position. This is probably what I would do in this situation. And and so the problem was here. He lost the control. He went out of rotation. But when the moment he lost control at the very beginning, he didn't show the rescue. So by waiting, he really entered this developed auto rotation, this SIV configuration, and this is very high risk prone for eating your rescue. So it's a very dangerous situation basically. Here he was lucky, yeah, but there are so many cases where the wing that just eats the rescue parachute. And so, in order to deal with this, you throw the rescue as soon as you start to turn, and if you don't know what you're doing. But anyway, the rule is that if you start to turn, it means that you are behind the game already. So it's all beyond your skill if you start to turn, and this is the reason to throw the rescue. And in case you get into SAT, so something like this, where you see that you're turning with your back forwards, the way to deal with this is, as Ari said in his video, you stall the open side basically. So the side that is flying, that's in this configuration down there, so to say, you break it and most probably use. So to leave this auto rotation, but also pretty probable in a stress situation is stall the wing, but it doesn't matter actually because it will also stop the rotation. So the reason is for this is to stop the rotation, to get the wing above you, and then throw the rescue parachute. Okay, so that was the first part. We are already 20 minutes into this video, and now why people do this. So I just had this discussion with the pilot, and he told me it is such a nice wing to fly. I fly fast, I can feel it, I can fly with B risers. It's so much better, such a much better feeling flying this wing than the high B he was flying before. And and my question was, do you fly it with fully accelerated? And he said, yes, I fly it fully accelerated as I used to fly my high B. So this is his reason actually to fly. He's not flying competition. He's doing his just for X contest, and he said that he's into like he has sporty nature. Okay, so now we know why he's doing this. And actually, the other reason was that actually he wanted to fly a Delta, but for some reason his Delta was scrapped, and he had to find another wing on a short-term basis, and he ended up with the Photon. Not with the Photon, but with another with the Skywalk wing base, which is a similar category. And so this is his reason and how I see it. So you already seen the risk of two-liner. The risk of a two-liner is that you have large space between the lines and you might get a nasty product. So this is the first risk. The second risk is you fly a high CV basically, because this is like a very sporty sea. So you have a lot of energy and that you have to manage in case something is dynamic. And it was not going to dissipate on its own, like in a lower class wing. And the other element is that the stall point on this wing is much shorter than on like a lower class wings. So it's much easier to stall. So you have to be aware of what you're doing with brakes, or in this case with B risers. So those are this is the basic characteristic of the wing. And of course, the characteristic of the wing, in case something shit happens, changes a lot in function of if you are fully accelerated or not. Actually, on the Photon, on any line, I don't have experience with this because you know why? You have to have like the folding lines to train collapse on SIV. So I don't know. I had some collapses, but they weren't accelerated. So I don't know actually how this wing behaves on collapses. It's a little bit the disadvantage also of flying at a wing, a two liner. But from my previous experience with different wings, in this higher class also, especially in the higher class like IBs and Cs and Ds, you actually know that the speed changes a lot, how the wing reacts to collapses, because those wings are designed to be so much faster on the speed that basically you have so much more energy if you fly accelerated. My experience is over 50% acceleration is where the changes start to be really visible. And the first thing is that you have more wind, so more chance to get the wingtip somewhere between the lines. The second is that if you have, he had like a huge cravat, so it wasn't so evident this turning. But if this would happen, what he had at the end would happen at the very beginning, with so much speed, he would directly enter this out rotation with a submit at the end. So, and this would be, if that would be low over the ground, it would be really dangerous. And so this is the reason that you have these reflexes to keep the wing flying straight. If you fly an energetic wing like this, which this guy later on, the first moment he didn't need it, but in the second part of this, he clearly demonstrated that he wasn't able to manage. So flying straight, you learn on SIV, and then clearing cravats. In the basic case, if you fly a two-liner, you don't have stabilo line. You still have some lines you can pull, and you've seen he was able to actually reduce this cravat quite a lot just by doing these braking actions. Although this is not the braking action you want to actually do, because the proper braking action is actually like spin entry, which is you pull a wedge shift on the open side, and once you are with your wedge shift on the open side, you really pull deep with the brake on the closed side, beyond your S basically, and to the moment where you start to feel that the wing is starting to rotate back on this side, and this is the moment where you release the brake and you catch the wing shooting forward. I have another video on this channel showing this, so you can have a look on that. So this is the first approach, but typically, if you have such a huge cravat, there's nothing to break. But this case demonstrated that still it may work to some extent. And the second stage is basically stalling the wing. So what happens is that you may stall different ways, but you may also just, when you start to spin, you don't release the brake, but you keep it, and then you start to really spin like he did here, but keeping brakes, not the B-risers. And then you add just a little bit of brake on the other side, and then you are in flyback, you're flying back. The wing, the air is moving in the opposite direction, so basically you're flying backwards, and this is supposed to blow your wingtip to the front. But since this wingtip is between the lines, this is pretty questionable how it would work. And of course, for this to do, you have to have a lot of altitude, which this guy here has. So that would be something that you could try actually. But this is also something that you have to train a lot, because spin entry, it's maybe third day of SIV. The full spin is actually after stall. Stitched, because the leaving the full spin is actually the best way of leaving it is a stall. That's the safer wing, is going backwards to the flyback and then leaving this as you learn the stall. And stall, to do it in a reliable way, it needs a lot of training. So basically this is it. In order to cope, to be prepared actually to cope with this situation reliably, you would have to do quite a lot of SIV actually, which is not the case here. And in case you don't, then you need a good insurance. You need to be mentally prepared to throw the rescue quickly as soon as you lose control. And you also, basically what I told to my friend, you shouldn't fly accelerated. Fully accelerated, because then you increase the risk of this very, very, very strongly. So, and then he said, okay, but I have this quick wing, sporty, and I won't fly it accelerated. But the ultimate question is not the wing, it's your skill level and your safety. And when you come to this point, the question is what you are actually doing this for. because if you fly this wing fully accelerated to get like a few kilometers on next contest, I mean, is it worth the risk? Especially here, I mean, we are here in Colombia, and in Colombia at the moment, you know, there are no helicopters that are gonna come to rescue. He's flying without the GPS, not the GPS, without satellite tracker. So he falls somewhere where there's no network, cellular mobile network, and there are plenty of places like this. He won't be even able to say where he is. I mean, this guy disappearing last year. Um, and so there is a lot of risk involved here, and for what, basically. Yeah? And the feeling of flying an ice wing, yeah, I understand this, but it only works until your first collapse, and it's gonna happen sooner or later for sure. If you fly fully accelerated, then the risk is bigger. Although those wings they have a little bit of reflex profile, so this is already debatable if it's bigger or not, but the consequences for sure they are bigger if you get a collapse with a high energy by flying fast. So those are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you think in the comments, and see you watching another video soon, I hope.